So if you don't know, LSPLASH has recently been doing more doors leaks every day. Yeah, I'm serious. They're gonna be showing stuff from the upcoming update every single day until it finally comes out. And while on the first day we got this image, this video is more focused on the day 2 leak. Because it is confirmed, we are getting a new currency in doors. And I'm sure we all have the same questions. What will we be able to use this currency for, and how will we obtain it? Well, I have a few theories that I want to discuss in this video, so let's get right into it. So before we get into the theories, let's talk about the history of this currency. It was actually discovered not too long ago by some leakers, but for some reason, it was called kroner. Now if you don't know, kroner is the main currency in pressure that's used like knobs. However, the thing is, LSPLASH already confirmed they're not collabing with pressure. So this led many people to believe that it was just a placeholder, and I'm pretty sure that it is. Because if we take another look at the leak, this don't look anything like kroner, not even the same color. And if I'm being honest, I'm not really smart enough to figure out what this currency could be, so I'm not even gonna try. However, if you have any theories, please tell me in the comments. I'm very interested to see what you think. Anyways, now we can get on to the theories. So if we look at the first leak again, we can see that this new currency is expensive. At least, it's more expensive than knobs, so we know it's way more valuable. So first, let's go over how we might be able to obtain this currency. My first theory is that you might be able to obtain this currency if you beat the game with at least a certain modifier boost. And while it is kind of unlikely, I do feel like it's still possible. Now, we know it's valuable, so it's not gonna be as easy as just throwing on all the easy modifiers. I feel like a good boost would be at least 100% or higher, with the higher boost giving more of these. Again, I feel the chances are pretty low for this, but I felt like I should still mention it. Another theory I have is maybe it's exclusive to the the outdoor subfloor. Yeah, turns out it's actually not called the garden like we all thought, so, yeah. Anyways, as I was saying, maybe we have to beat the outdoor subfloor in order to get this currency. And if that is the case, that will make people actually come back to the subfloor in order to get more of this currency. Or maybe, instead of it being exclusive to the outdoor subfloor, maybe we could make it exclusive to subfloors in general. Now, I'm not so sure about the backdoor since you can just make a new backdoor game, but maybe with the rooms in the outdoor subfloor where you'll likely actually have to do stuff to get there, could be a good idea. Another one I've had is what if doors had daily quests? Like maybe certain quests like use a crucifix against Giggle, or beat a hotel with a 75% modifier boost, could reward some of this currency. And like Cheddarball said in one of his recent videos, this would actually give some people something to do after they 100% complete doors. As currently, once you have all the badges, there's not really anything else to do. Like, let's be real here, you're likely only using a crucifix against Giggle once and then never again. And this would probably also make you use certain modifiers that you'd likely never use. Like for me, I never use vacuum sealed because I always forget that I even have it on. Anyways, now that we know how we could potentially obtain this currency, what could it be used for? Because we know it's very valuable. Well, I feel like that it could be used to buy revives. If we look at the official leak again, we can see that there is nearly 1,000 revives. Like, who has all that Robux? Like, that would imply that they spent thousands of Robux on just revives alone. And I don't know about you, but I definitely don't need that many revives. At least, I wouldn't spend that much Robux on them anyway. Now then again, this is an official leak from LSPLASH, and they could just genuinely have that many revives. I mean, who knows, maybe they need that many for testing reasons. But I just wanted to point that out because 994 is a very specific number. Like, you'd really expect them to have exactly 999 or something like that. And I would say the same for knob boosts, but they don't have many knob boosts, so... But they did mention solving multiple problems with this feature. Now, it could also be some cosmetic uses. However, I always expected that to be a knob thing. And I remember one of the developers saying one time that it would be immersion breaking. So I'm not 100% sure about it. Another thing that it could buy would probably be knobs. But seeing how easy knobs are to get nowadays, that would kinda be stupid. Now, what if using this currency, we could get more items in the pre-run shop? This one's a bit of a stretch, but I feel like we could see more items in the pre-run shop using this currency. Or maybe even a subfloor pre-run shop, although that one's a bit of a stretch too. But if we're adding items to the pre-run shop, we probably have to add a limit, so that way you can't just buy every item and break the inventory limit. Now the last idea I had has to do with the subfloors. What if, for the rooms in the outdoor, we could buy access to those subfloors immediately with this currency? As you may know, it is super tedious to get to the rooms. Like, you have to have 2 lockpicks, get 300 gold, buy a skeleton key from Jeff's shop, go all the way to door 61, then flip the lever in a huge basement that is usually 4 times the size of the earth, and then go all the way back into room 60 and then get into the rooms. And that is super tedious just for one attempt that you might not even succeed at. And we already know you'll never be able to just make an elevator that goes straight to the rooms. And seeing as this outdoor area is likely around room 90, you likely won't be able to just make an elevator there too. But like I said, that is tedious just for one attempt. So, what if we could just pay a certain amount of this currency in order to just immediately start a run there? Of course, if you're getting this from the outdoor subfloor, you're likely not using it on the outdoor subfloor, but still. This could make for a huge time save on trying to get certain badges like Back on Track or A1000. This one might also be a stretch, but I feel like it's a pretty good possibility. So yeah, that was all of my ideas for how we could potentially obtain this currency and what it could be used for. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, subscribe, and be sure to comment your theories too. I'm very interested to see what you think.